I wasn't doing psychology, 100%, I would be a drug dealer. There is no other job role on this planet that suits my personality more because I have a very poor work ethic. I am unprofessional and I don't respect the law. I'm like, law schmore, it's fine, we'll get away with it, it's not a problem.
Remember those kids in school who would tell you the most random, bold-faced lies? They would say things like, I have an iPhone, but my mom just won't let me bring it to school. Or, John Cena is my uncle, and he's actually here right now, you just can't see him. Or even, I'm a psychologist, and I can teach you how to never get cheated on, how to spot a gold digger, how to be a high-value man, how to act like you have money, how to find the submissive woman of your dreams, and give you the best dating advice of your life. Okay, I might have added that one, but follow me. This is Sadia Khan. And all of those bold-faced lies were just a few of her many internet facades. She is known as an influencer slash dating coach, but if you were to ask Sadia Khan who she is, she would tell you she's a psychologist with a bachelor's, master's, and a teaching degree that no one has ever seen except for her, in her delusions and dreams. She did not become popular because she's some type of groundbreaking psychologist who changes lives for the better. Believe it or not, this conventionally beautiful woman is taking advantage of the red pill manosphere in what I think is the most unique approach I've seen thus far. As long as you have a Wi-Fi connection, you have most likely and unprovokedly come across the Andrew Tates, the Fresh and Fits, and the Pick Me Pearls against your will. All of these caricatures fall under the same social media niche that we can refer to as the red pill agenda. The red pill rhetoric, which is inspired by the Matrix metaphor of waking up to the truth, has grown into a wildfire internet ideology, typically focusing on gender relations, dating, alpha masculinity, and power dynamics. It often frames itself as hard truths about society, but those truths are usually rooted in misogyny, conspiracy thinking, and cynicism. It convinces men that cynicism is wisdom, but it actually narrows perspective, poisons relationships before they can even exist. How have all these people built such large platforms spewing nothing but hate and propaganda? The simple answer? Brainwashing. Sadia's approach is one of its kind though. Sadia Khan is not a real psychologist. There has been online speculation for quite some time now regarding her qualifications and credentials, but everything was fully exposed and confirmed in a recent interview she did with YouTubers Abba and Preach, and you do not want to miss that, so stick around. But let's go ahead and dissect this business model. Red pill content is the hot topic right now, and it has been for a while. It sells very well in the short term, and Sadia's unique approach to it is the base of her success. She feeds into the misogyny that this content category is fueled by actually pushing the same rhetoric as red pill men. So she comes off as the exception, which naturally leads me to my next point. Sadia Khan is the epitome of a pick-me. By laying this pro-misogyny foundation, it enables her to put other women down and elevate herself to essentially sell the illusion that she is the archetype woman and only certain men can attain a woman like herself if they follow her 3M program. Sadia Khan's 3M program stands for Master Yourself, Master Women, and Master Relationships. That last M is comically ironic, by the way, and you'll see why a little later in this video. But as you can see on her very own website, she herself echoes what I've deduced. She markets it as a chance to join the exclusive transformation program for men ready to elevate their love life and confidence. So many buzzwords. Someone who is deep in the red pill sewers who comes across this program would immediately think, wow, a human with breasts who understands my alpha needs and can teach me how to bag a chick? Where do I sign up? All comic relief aside, Sadia's work is dangerous. Let's start with hopping into the men's shoes. So she has a Patreon, and the perks that she offers are very reminiscent of some common OF subscription perks. A lot of OF models offer this perk where their subscribers can pay to have direct private messages with them. But whole time, and most of the time, it's either a bot on the other end answering these men or a virtual assistant. Ironically enough, Sadia has her own version of this exact same feature. On her website, it says, join our Patreon community for exclusive insights, live Q&A sessions, and ability to send a direct message and receive a response within 24 hours. Now be for real. Y'all know good and well, Sadia is not sitting here ready to converse with the same people she bamboozles for a living. But all this to say, none of this ends well for her male clients, because at the end of the day, a false temporary high self-esteem is being rooted in them, and once it wears off, it leaves society with these men who are beyond emotionally unstable, walking around with a chip on their shoulder with this developed, deep-rooted hate towards women. So she promotes this hierarchy of attractiveness that teaches these people that their worth is mostly external. Let's take a quick look at this clip of her explaining this logic of hers.
Rich, successful, intelligent all means nothing if a woman is not attracted to you. All of those amazing traits, successful, rich, built something, intelligent, all of those great traits, the prerequisite for a woman to wanting all of that she has to be attracted to you. And the quickest way to make women attracted to you is to have some natural sex appeal, to have that. So you can be the richest, most successful man, but without that ingredient, you're limiting your pool. But injecting that ingredient, even if you don't have all those other ingredients, you'll still access.
So when reality sets in and these men realize how unattainable and inflated the checklist is, their ego takes a punch straight to the gut. And there is nothing scarier than an emotionally unstable man with a hurt ego freely roaming this planet. Another bothersome point, Sadia lists the topic of gold diggers as one of her specializations. And again, this is actually so dangerous, and quite frankly, it's irresponsible, because it's one of the ways she instills this paranoia in these men that leaves them to truly believe that women are manipulative by default. As a result, it leaves women to deal with unprovoked hostility and violence from these men.
As a man, women are your entire purpose. And what I mean by that is, if you're not motivated to go get women, you're not going to be motivated to work hard and make more money. You're not going to be motivated to get in shape. You're not going to be motivated to take care of your appearance. You're going to literally stop at your tracks if you're not desiring real women. So once you reduce your desire for women, you literally remove your entire purpose in life. That's just how you're designed.
Now, before we explicitly dive into the dangers for women, I'm going to show you a clip of how this specialized psychologist delivers her opinion under the guise of the truth to her weak male audience. Her words, by the way, not mine.
There's some really weak men that will be like, no, I've got so many boundaries. When I realized that she was sleeping with my brother, and when I realized she stole all my money, and when I realized that she was isolating the kids from me, I filed for divorce because I'm a strong man. No, she left you. You just didn't realize. She's the one. If she's cheating on you, if she's treating you badly, if she's disrespecting you, using you for your money, she's left you. You're just now doing the paperwork for her.
Like, it just stresses me out to see these clips. And here's one more clip in which she voices her unsolicited opinion on the fathers who stepped up.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you are a father and you have your own kids, you have no business being a stepfather. Zero. Because for you to then be spending more time, money, and energy on somebody else's kids over and above your own, you're not a man stepping up. You're sorry, not sorry.
Nah, she loves calling men out of their name. Oh my gosh. And y'all be paying her for her services? Y'all be paying for her to talk to y'all like this? But anyways, let's dive further into how Sadia's work is especially dangerous for women. First and foremost, there are definitely some vulnerable women who hear how Sadia speaks about the general female population and could potentially internalize her message. She has this way of excluding women who don't look like or operate like herself.
Why is it that you can't find the people you want on dating apps? It's very simple. Most attractive women do not go on dating apps. The reason being is they're so unbelievably overwhelmed with the amount of messages they get that they end up deactivating very quickly. And most importantly, if they find themselves on those dating apps, it's usually because they've just come from a heartbreak and they are using the dating app as a coping mechanism. They don't actually want to be there. So the reason why you're unable to access women at the top on the dating apps is because They don't want to be there.
So in other words, she's insinuating that if you're on dating apps, you're probably not attractive. But this internalized misogyny encourages the acceptance of unequal dynamics because she frames relationships as transactional, which is fitting in the red pill manosphere. In that world, love is a trade, not a partnership. Relationships are centered on power dynamics and not mutual respect, and surely not self-respect. So in simpler words, so what he yells at you every day? As long as you do what he asks of you and he pays the bills, you got yourself a high value man. Forget being happy. Be grateful. Honestly, it's really disheartening to see a woman encourage misogynistic ideologies the way that Sadia does, because she has such a large platform on which she irresponsibly chooses to push red pill generalizations about women. So like the ideas that all women are narcissistic and are cheaters. And the unfortunate part of it all is how such rhetoric coming from a woman makes it harder to challenge in encounters with these kinds of people. Just how can we call out instances of clear and blatant misogyny when a woman with alleged credentials and specializations is co-signing it all? It discredits the reality of women who don't fit this hatefully fabricated identity, and it blurs the line between empowerment and misogyny. Now, if you haven't noticed the recurring theme in this video so far, if it's one thing about Sadia Khan, she's gonna tell a lie. Like, just watch this quick clip of her spreading false advice in the internet streets.
The main problem with men we have today with their masculinity is that they shouldn't actually fall in love. They should fall into work. And what I mean by that is their job is not to just sit there and dote on a woman and be obsessed with her and write her poems and fall in love with her. It should be, she's a good woman, right? Let me work hard. Let me go get a house. Let me go get married. Let me start a family with her. If she's a good woman, let me do something. I know people are telling you need to be emotional, you need to be sensitive. Now, the truth is women don't respond well to men who are sensitive. They don't respond to men who know all their problems. They respond to men who can solve all their own problems. So the more of a problem solver you are and the more masculine you are,
she is setting people up for ultimate failure. Because what did she just lie so hard like that for? And who elected her to speak for the congregation of women? But since we're already talking about women, let's talk about a very important contributing factor in Sadia's success. Everyone's favorite current topic, pretty privilege. When I pull out my handy dandy urban dictionary, pretty privilege pertains to a person who has more opportunities and becomes more successful in life because of how attractive they are. Sadia is conventionally beautiful, and the privilege that comes with said attractiveness has helped immensely in getting her so far in this red pill grift. Now, have you ever heard of the halo effect? Not that halo, not that halo. I'm more so talking about the cognitive bias. The halo effect influences how you think about others. It happens when you automatically make positive assumptions or judgments about people based on something positive you notice. In reality, you know little about them, but you subconsciously attach a halo to them anyway because you think they seem nice. When someone who looks as aesthetically pleasing as Sadia Khan speaks, people, especially men in her case, are more likely to believe what she says. And due to the fact that the packaging of her recycled red pill ideologies is pretty, people don't care to look closely at what's actually inside. Her image strategically blends psychologist with influencer, creating this hybrid persona that feels authoritative and aspirational. So when we talk about her success, we can't separate her rhetoric from her appearance. She's literally the perfect spokesperson for a worldview that already idolizes beauty and hierarchy. And that is exactly why she is so dangerous. And I have to add, she comes off very calculated and intentional with her clips, because the TikTok I'm about to show you is the slickest form of reverse psychology.
Great privilege, but there's lots of disadvantages, and the main thing doing is people look for your flaws a lot more. What happens when you're not attractive is people can accept what you're saying and doing and they don't really delve into it. But when you're attractive, there's an element of other women or even men saying, well, I bet she's dumb. Well, I bet she's a hoe. Or I bet that they're looking for the negative so much. So you almost have to work against people's negative assumptions of your character. As much as they make positive assumptions of your appearance, they make lots of negative assumptions about your character.
When I originally watched that clip, I immediately felt as though it was her way to guilt trip any viewers who've begun to engage or entertain the idea that she's allegedly a fraud, almost making it feel like you need to feel bad for her because even though she's pretty, her prettiness is the same reason why people are doubting her credibility, and not the fact that she has yet to show anyone any type of credentials or the fact that she regurgitates red pill scripts like a bird. Now, per internet grifting fashion, let's unpack her master manipulation and lack of shame/remorse. For someone who claims to be of prestigious academic stature and qualification, she moves like Rihanna back in 2011 when she was chewing people up in her social media replies. There are just so many instances of Sadia replying to people critiquing her like she's ready to take it to the streets. However, her clapbacks have been extra prevalent lately, following alleged text message screenshots of her admitting to being a side chick and voice recordings of her belittling the fiance of the man who she was allegedly involved with. YouTube duo Abba and Preach did a thorough video specifically detailing these allegations, but Taken, the same woman who said this.
The main thing I would say to be a high value woman is always you have ability to reject attention.
Is the same woman who allegedly said all of this. Pause to read real quick because I ain't reading all of that. Now, I say allegedly because Miss Khan likes to try to sue creators who expose her with no basis other than crashing out because her cover's been blown. But an interesting thing that I want to let you guys know is that in a follow-up video, Abba was actually able to outmaneuver her into confirming that the number in the screenshots is in fact her number. But anyway, to further highlight her hypocrisy, here is a phone call recording between her and the man's fiance, allegedly.
What are you going to do about it? I'll suck it if you have an attitude, and I can do it today if I want to.
Go on.
And I can do it on your wedding day and your birthday.
Okay, well,
and
we'll
the days
see.
After.
Okay.
I've been in situations where he's been with you in a social setting. He'll call me after.
The simplest way I can put how all of these alleged receipts made me feel would be the equivalent to witnessing a doctor cough into their hands instead of the inside of their elbow. And have you noticed how she operates as though she's always 10 steps ahead of everyone? I not only noticed this when she was speaking with Abba, but also in an interview that she had with Jay Shetty that I unfortunately had to watch parts of in the name of research. But just notice how she speaks ridiculously fast with very minimal pauses to think about her responses and how she just uses a bunch of psychology jargon.
Yeah, they're not actually compatible. They're just in those habits, particularly if they've just come out of a relationship. They might just be in the habit of calling everywhere every day, arranging to see you on the weekends, doing all of those things, which feels great. But if they're not actually healed, it will turn into love bombing because they're accelerating the residual feelings from their previous relationship onto you. And it kind of accelerates the relationship faster than what the psychological compatibility is. So you might find yourself catapulted into a relationship by somebody who's just in that habit of doing that. And that can also be a problem.
What you just witnessed is something called the guru persona, where the confidence and speed of speech are theatrical tools to keep listeners from noticing logical gaps. And it's very common among life coaches, niche gurus, and self-help influencers who lean more on charisma than credentials. The fast, confident delivery discourages critical thinking, so it makes the audience assume that fluency equals truth. You also witness something called pseudo-intellectualism. Pseudo-intellectuals are individuals who try to appear intellectually superior or knowledgeable, but lack the genuine depth of understanding or expertise in the subjects they discuss. They may use complex or technical language, make references to scholarly works, or engage in intellectual discussions, but their knowledge and understanding saying are superficial or based on misinterpretations. In other words, there is a confidence-competence mismatch in which her confidence dramatically exceeds her actual expertise. It's essentially reverse imposterism. Instead of secretly feeling like a fraud, she doubles down on performing authority to avoid exposing herself. She has built a social media empire off of convincing you that she is the solution to all of your problems and insecurities. Remember, she's supposed to be a psychologist, a dating coach, and a relationship guru. At this point, she's 10-in-1 shampoo. But what she really is a liar and a grifter. And now that the internet has her all figured out, the new question is, how much longer can Sadia Khan pull off this facade?